What's up, guys? Welcome back to CagedIn MMA. It's your host, Eben Sochiwa, and this is UFC 303, episode 18. We are recording this a little bit late. It's the fight of the night, um, and so it's Saturday morning, but we're going to go ahead and get started. It's going to be a quick one, going over a few, I would say like top 5, 6 fights I got down that you should definitely be looking out for. So, anyways, we're gonna go ahead get started. You guys already know how I start this segment in these episodes, and it is with the Dana White call out. Dana White, I've been a fan for decades, or more than a decade. I haven't lived many decades, but been a fan for more than a decade, and nonstop watch pay-per-views, bought pay-per-views, spent on these guys here. Got a Timex watch, Bruce Buffer right there, and I haven't experienced a fight yet. There's no fights in ATL, and yeah, I need to fly out, need a hotel, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I was gonna go for John Jones, and then that fight got canceled and whatnot. So, anyways, Dana White, fly me out, please. Costs a lot of money. You know what I'm saying, with this economy and stuff like that. Anyways, please. So next we got trivia. This is where I ask 3 questions. If you guys already know, if you get it right, good job. If you don't get it right, then you gotta get somebody you're watching this with or something to kick you, punch you, whatever, because that's the name of the game. So trivia. First question: how many kickboxing championships did MVP win? Give you guys a few seconds. To answer this. Think about it. He won 10. Now I'm talking about kickboxing here. So again, I mean MMA, his last fight promotion, he unfortunately came up short, stuff like that. But anyways, this guy is a killer, and we'll go into him later on in this video. So next, in what fight did Brian Ortega mess up his ankle before his fight? So if you guys don't remember, he was jumping, and it was pretty recent. So I want to throw in a little easy one in there. I've been throwing a little harder ones, but for the casual MMA fans, whatnot, you guys got to feel involved. So in what fight did he hurt his ankle right before the fight? Right before, it was like technically during. Nah, I mean before the fight technically. So, and it was against Yair Rodriguez, his last fight. So killer, but he ended up winning that fight. So congrats to him. That was killer. I know Dana White was scared. He was like, "She," but he got it done. Brian Ortega is a dog. Next, third question and final question: how many fights did it take Pereira to become a two-division champ? Is how many fights, not how many years, not how many days. No, how many fights did it take him to become two-time division champ? Well, again, this is goes back to, again, he was a two-division champ in Glory Kickboxing, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what I'm saying. But anyways, not so technical here, I guess you could say. I should get more technical though. Anyways, he became a two-division champ in 7 fights. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's like the fastest ever to do it. So next, we're gonna go into prelims. Okay, here. I'm not talking about, like I said, I'm not gonna go into all the fights of the card and stuff like that. Although it's going to be a great fight. As you guys know, UFC 303 was supposed to be Connor and Chandler, but unfortunately, Connor got a broken pinky toe, and yeah, he pulled out. So, and honestly, in my opinion, a lot of people, especially fighters, obviously they give him backlash, stuff like that. It's like, it's a broken pinky toe, whatever. But Chael Sonnen actually just said something, and he said, look, in the position, I believe it was Chael Sonnen or Alex Pereira, one of those two. But it was like, in the position that Connor is at currently, he's currently off losses, the stage in his life he's at, things like that. It's like, it's better not to take, a huge risk. Like, he has to come in 100%. You know what I'm saying? So, what will Michael Chandler do? Wait or not wait? Who knows? But hey, that's him. I mean, he said it himself. It's like he can fight again, but it's not going to make the amount of money that Connor would, and which makes sense. Again, when Connor came out, he already um, had the highest grossing. Again, he broke records again. So it makes sense. I don't blame Michael Chandler. And again, Michael Chandler, if he loses, it's kind of like, and like, really Conor McGregor, like, it's like it kind of diminishes Chandler at least. Although he's a great entertainer, his fights are crazy good. But again, he's protecting his reputation and stuff like that. I kind of feel like he just wants a money fight. Everybody does, but like to get out. So, anyways, next we got prelims: Joe Pyfer versus Mark Andre. And Joe Pyfer, many of you guys, he's actually, very well known for being that guy. Dana White, gave him a place to stay, stuff like that. And, even Dana White was like, if you want to become a fighter, be like Joe Pyfer. And that's that guy. So he's fighting. If you guys recognize him, I kind of want to keep it, simple for some casual fans. Again, all love, but, yeah, everybody got to feel involved. So Joe Pyfer versus Mark Andre. Mark is 16-7. He has 10 knockout wins, one submission win, and 6 first round finishes. He recently lost to a split decision against Curtis, but I mean he beat Anders. That's pretty much his most notable win. Just beat Anders, but Curtis obviously he just fought. Many guys know Curtis because I mean, he's been in it for a while. He's the main teammate of Sean Strickland. They're best friends, especially with their. I think they still run their podcast and stuff. But anyways, he just lost by split decision. But next we got Joe Pyfer. He's 12-3. He has 8 knockout wins, 3 submission wins, and 6 first round finishes. He has beat Al Hassan and Mir Shurat. And Mir is he's like a veteran of the sport. He never got like so high up there, but he's kind of like been one of those like just fights here and there and stuff like that. So again, not too noticeable like notable fighters like in the top 10, 15. But again, like this guy is just coming up, right? But I'm just saying like people you guys might have heard of and stuff like that. That's his most notable. Now, his most notable loss is to Hermanson, which obviously you guys know. This guy's a dog. He wrestled even Hamza in like a charity match, things like that. But he has been, a dog ever since he's been in the UFC or was in the UFC. So next we got Ian Gary. This is the main event now, main card. Next, we got Ian Gary versus MVP, Michael Venom Page. MVP is 22-2, 13 knockouts, 3 submission wins, and 13 first round finishes. He just beat Holland in the UFC. He's a 10-time kickboxing world champion, like I said. And again, this guy just got to the UFC. So, Holland was basically his debut and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, this guy, like I said, is a dog. I mean, he fought in previous promotions. He came up short with the belt. Diego Lima was the one who actually beat him, which their American Top Team gym is here in ATL. Great place. But then he actually beat him after. So this guy's again, he's in the UFC for a reason. He's a dog. He just beat a guy like Holland. And yeah, I mean Holland's a dog. So that's really his only fight in the UFC. So I can't wait, especially, they're kind of bringing him up very quick, but I like it. This guy is legit good. He did a bare knuckle fight with Mike Perry. Mike Perry ended up winning in overtime. So that was a dog fight too. But Ian Gary, he's 14-0, 7 knockouts, 1 submission win, and 4 first round finishes. He beat Neal, beat Magny, beat Rodriguez, and then those are his most notable wins. This guy is undefeated right now. Obviously, he's getting a lot of backlash because of just his personal situation and stuff like that. But that's as a fighter, he's a great fighter. I feel like though this one, this fight, and let me know what you guys think. This fight could either be really good or really poor, like boring and go to decision. The reason why is because both of these fighters fight at a distance, right? MVP is a kickboxer, and then you got obviously um Ian Gary, he fights sort of kickboxing style stuff like that. I mean, keeping the distance and stuff like that. That's why, like, another fight, I would talk about was MVP versus Wonder Boy. But then, it's like those are two great elite kickboxers and stuff like that. Wonder Boy was undefeated in kickboxing himself, and it would be a kickboxing match, but I feel like both of them would put on the pressure, kind of like um Wonder Boy and Holland. That wasn't a bad fight and stuff like that. So I was kind of, these fights, it could either go really good, really bad, kind of like one of those where it's like Romero and Adesanya and stuff like that. I don't think there will be a worse fight. I mean, you got Esparza. Anyways, you got a lot. But anyways, getting off topic here. Ian Gary versus MVP. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you guys root for, and let me know this actually. For the like casual fans and stuff like that. Um, do a lot of you guys not go for Ian Gary because of his personal life situation? I want to know this. I really do because obviously as fans, stuff like that does play a part. Who you go for, who you root for. This fight is one of those where it's like I want to see a dogfight. I legit do. Like both of these guys be tested. MVP, he kind of like he was, Holland was kind of like, a good fight, but he pretty much dominated that fight. I want MVP to be tested to a good, high level. And so I also want Ian Gary to be tested to a high level. These guys are both coming up, so it's kind of like a race to the, to the top, which it's what it is. So like I said, Ian Gary versus MVP. I'm excited for this fight, but I could also be disappointed in the future. So next we got Anthony Smith versus Roman Dalids, and Roman, he's 12-3. He's from Georgia, same like Ilya Taporia, and which actually this is also off topic, but Spain versus Georgia in the Euro Cup for soccer. But anyways, that's pretty dope. I was like, oh dang. But anyways, he's from Georgia. He has 7 knockouts, 3 submission wins, and 7 first round finishes. We could go back. His most notable wins are Hermanson, like we talked about, and Dawes. This guy is pretty new to the UFC. Again, it's like not new, but it's like again, it's like he's kind of going up there against somebody like Anthony Smith, who's been a veteran for so long. Anthony Smith too. It's like he has his record is crazy, and I'll go into him right now. But Roman, like I said, he has that knockout power and submission, but it's like out of his 12 wins, 7 of those were first rounders and stuff like that. So, and out of those 12 wins, 10 of them were finishes. So, again, he only has 2 pretty much decision wins and stuff like that. But anyways, this guy, he's great. He's a dog. But let's go into Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith is 38-19. He has 19 knockouts, 15 submission wins, and 21 first round finishes. This guy has beat many veterans. He has lost to many veterans, but again, he's a veteran himself. He's beat some of the greats. He's lost to the great, and but that gives him experience. So it's like this guy. He beat Petrino. He beat Span twice. He beat Crew. He beat Gustafson. He beat Ozdemir. He beat Shogun. He beat Evans. This guy, like I said, he's a dog. He's been in the UFC for like 11 years, I believe, and it's like, bro, this he has literally faced the top of the top opponents. I mean, you got again this guy, and the time. This is where we go back, to the past. He's in the light heavyweight division. The light heavyweight division back then was literally one of the toughest, if not the toughest division in the UFC. Now, John Jones reigned that division for the longest, obviously, but until he obviously just recently moved up to heavyweight and stuff like that. But like I said, Anthony Smith has fought the best of the best, which experience wise, Anthony Smith has the top. But again, this is one of those where it's like Roman is kind of trying to go up the rankings now, things like that. And it's like beating somebody like Anthony Smith, who has all the experience and stuff like that, is going to be great. So, This one, it's kind of like, Anthony Smith. Obviously, he's an older guy. He's kind of just fighting to fight. He's not a championship level fighter anymore. But it's kind of like one of those where it's like, okay, um, he's fighting to fight. So we'll see how he does and stuff like that. He's kind of more vulnerable in the whole giving up thing and stuff like that. Not saying he's gonna give up or anything like that. No, I'm just saying that there's no, like, in the future there's no title on the line and stuff like that. It's just a checkup. So Anthony Smith, he's a veteran. I like him, and I think Roman. I don't think. Honestly, also is another one that could end really, like, it could be really boring or could be a dogfight and then in a knockout. I feel like a prediction of a knockout in round two is accurate for this one. If not, it's going to be decision. The reason why is because Anthony Smith lately, he's been kind of like just hitting here, hitting there, throwing a big shot here, there, and then, a little leg kick here and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a slower pace now for Anthony Smith. Um, but again, it's kind of one of those where it's like, oh, one punches, the other one punches, jab, jab here, jab, jab there. And but yeah, so it's like these fights are kind of like a hit or miss, I would say. You would like it more to be like an actual hit, but I would say don't be surprised if it's a miss as well. But fights are fights, they could go any way, and that's what we love about the fight game. Next, we got Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. This one I'm kind of iffy about, and if you guys didn't hear, this fight has been moved to 155. But this one, here's the thing, and you guys know how I feel about the whole super high rankings fighting, like, lower rankings and stuff like that. Like Diego Lopez, he's number 14 right now. Okay, Brian Ortega is number 3. All right, Diego Lopez literally isn't even top 10 fighting a top 5 guy. And not even just a top 5, he's fighting the top 3 guy. So I've always felt, I've never liked that situation, but let me know what you guys think. Again, it's like I've talked about it in the past, literally with the Dustin Poirier fight, him fighting the number 12 and whatnot. And it's like, I didn't like it. And Dustin ended up winning. And in some situations, it's like, it plays out fairly, but it's like, even like Hamzat versus Burns, the difference in rankings and stuff like that. Now Hamzat ended up winning. It was a dogfight. It was a great fight. But again, it's not one of those where it's like I feel like they need another fight before and then get that top 5. Again, it's like matchmakers obviously are matchmakers for a reason, stuff like that. They know what they're doing. But as a fan who has followed the sport for very long and stuff like that, seeing, people like just other fighters just, having to go through everybody to get that title shot, right? Like Charles Oliveira, he beat every top 5 guy, and then, you know, he beat every top 5 guy and had the belt and stuff like that. Whereas, like, you have other guys who beat the top 5, then top 4, then top 2, and then get their title shot and stuff like that. So again, it's like it's a here and there. But anyways, let's go into these fighters. So Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Lopez is 24-6, 10 knockout wins, 12 submission wins, 15 first round finishes. His record is pretty outstanding. He beat Yusuf recently by knockout, which kind of gave him way more hype. He had a bit of hype before. He has had hype, you know, uh, along his career, but his last fight, due to that knockout, definitely, obviously, is the reason why he's getting this fight. Um, he beat Sabatini, Tucker, Evloev, and those are pretty much his most notable wins. And obviously now he's going into that top 5 contender arena and stuff like that. So definitely the names are going to be much more out there, obviously, because these guys are the best of the best. So next, we got Brian Ortega. He's 16-3. He is number 3, like I said. He has 3 knockout wins, 8 submission wins, and 4 first round finishes. This guy, he's a dog. He's a legend. He has beat the best of the best. He has fought the best of the best, and he's been in the top for a long time. His record isn't so huge. Again, he's 16-3, but his 3 losses are against legends themselves. So again, this fight is it's gonna be great all around. Brian Ortega is kind of like a submission artist, as we know, and then Lopez is kind of an all around fighter. So it's like Lopez, he has 10 knockout wins, 12 submission wins. So that's 22 wins. Out of his 24 wins, he has 22 finishes. Out of those 24 wins and those 22 finishes, 15 are first round finishes. So like I said, I mean, this is going to be a great all around fight and stuff like that. So I can't wait to see this. But let's go into Brian Ortega, his stats. He's beat Rodriguez. Now, he did lose to him the first time, but he just recently beat Rodriguez. He beat the Korean Zombie. He beat Frankie Edgar. He beat Swanson. He beat Moicano. He beat Gita. So it's like, and the only losses he has is against Holloway and Volkanovski. So in the UFC. So again, this guy is a dog. He's a legend himself and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, to lose against former champs, Holloway and Volkanovski, um, it kind of like cements how great he is and stuff like that. He's beat many greats and again, he's been in it for a while. He has had some layoffs due to injuries and everything, et cetera, et cetera. So he's not as active as one would hope so. But the people he's beat have definitely been high class fighters. So like I said, this one is definitely going to be a dogfight. Both of them are looking for a finish. I think even on the ground game, it's going to be legit one of those where it's like, oh man, like this is art, like kind of like Mikey Musumeci, how he explains the jiu-jitsu ground game. It's like a puzzle, and it's like you get deep into it. I think this one could be kind of like one of those beauty ground game fights, but I think it's going to be an all-around fight. Stand up, they're not going to go for a takedown so quickly. They might go for a submission, but then I think it's kind of like a back and forth one where it's like they do a lot of reversals, switches, things like that. So I'm very excited for this fight. They're very quick. Brian Ortega is very kind of like a not awkward, if not he switches stances pretty quick and stuff like that, and then could catch you in anything. Just kind of like for example, like Volkanovski when he was fighting that headlock and stuff like that, or guillotine. I mean, not headlock. What am I talking about? Anyways, um, but yeah, guillotine and it is quick, and then even when he was going for the triangle and everything is crazy. Like this guy's a dog. So next, last but not least, we got the main event of the evening. We got Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka, and this is their second fight, by the way. So these two guys are very awkward. I would say not awkward, but it's like the way they fight, it's kind of like, well, Yuri is kind of has a weird stance, and so does Alex. He has kind of like a stiff stand up stance, but he's very tall, and his left hook is, his reach, I should say, is very long. So, but these guys, they're dogs. Yuri Prochazka, he's 30 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. Out of those 30 wins, he has 26 wins by knockout, 3 submission wins, 23 first round finishes. That means 29 of his 30 wins have been finishes. He beat Rakic, Teixeira, Reyes, Ozdemir. And again, it's like one of those where it's like he hasn't even been in the UFC for that long as well. Most of his record came from his previous MMA fights before the UFC, I should say. So yeah, I mean, this guy definitely, obviously, um, he's just a dog, and it's crazy because like, you know, these two guys are like kind of like that gladiator vibe sort of fighters and stuff like that. So it's definitely what do you call it? It is dope. I want to see, especially the walkout and stuff like that. The first time they're stared down and everything, it was pretty crazy. Like nobody broke character, and not that they had a character playing, but it's like they were literally just eye to eye facing each other. So then we got again this guy Yuri hasn't been in the UFC for so long, but he has a big history in MMA and his wins and stuff like that. Next we got Alex Pereira. He is 10-2 in MMA, 8 knockout wins, 4 first-round finishes. He's beat Strickland, Adesanya, Blachowicz, Yuri, and Hill most recently. So it's like this guy literally came in, and just like Daniel Cormier says, this guy's like Thanos. He literally came into the UFC from kickboxing, being a 2 division champ, came from kickboxing to the UFC, has knocked out former champions, became a 2 division champion in the UFC. This guy's crazy. He's collecting infinity stones like nothing. So it's like Strickland, the former champ, he knocked him out. Adesanya, their first fight, he knocked him out. Not knocked him out, but it was a technical knockout. They stopped the fight, stoppage, etc. Bam. So obviously Adesanya won. And that goes to show something. The only person he really lost to in the UFC is Israel Adesanya. Then we got Blachowicz, the former champion. Yuri Prochazka, the former champion. Jamal Hill, the former champion. This guy has fought champion after champion after champion, and he's still winning. So this fight is going to be crazy. Their first fight, it was that first round was kind of awkward. You know, it's kind of like Alex Pereira started off strong with leg kicks and stuff like that, and which kind of like not destroyed, but it made Yuri Prochazka switch his stance and stuff like that. So then it made him even more awkward. But then Yuri kind of kept tagging him back to Alex Pereira to the cage. He was tagging him a little, and then comes second round, Alex Pereira catches him with the right and then left hook, drops him, then finishes finishes him with elbows, and then that one kind of you know I believe it was pretty decent early stoppage. I don't know how to feel about that. Um, I do feel like they should have let Yuri continue. Uh, Yuri said himself, he's like, "Oh no, I was out." But even Dana was like, "It's because Yuri's a good guy." He's like he's gonna take his loss as a man and stuff like that. But Yuri is kind of like I'm just excited for this fight again. I kind of wanted to go longer, and obviously this fight would definitely cement like okay who won and all that stuff because both of them, if Yuri would have continued stuff like that, he had a chance. But also who knows because it's like at that point Alex Pereira had top mount. So like I said, I'm super excited for this fight, but this fight is for this belt right here. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you guys think is going to win. And I'll see you guys in the next video for UFC 304. Peace.